when you take leadership, and there are many who join the Fridays for Future campaign across the world, including in India, what is the message that you want to give out to young people across the world, including in India, and how to make this a very personal movement and how to take this forward?
In terms of how to get young people involved, it's just clear how, as the climate crisis gets worse and as we see the effects more, you're going to get more activism. Because we are going to realize how it is affecting our presents and how it's going to affect our futures. And we are going to, we are realizing the power that we have when we talk about our rights as children. And so in the U.S., there are 21 plaintiffs suing the U.S. government because they're not protecting their right to life, liberty, and property by exacerbating the effects of the climate crisis through supporting the fossil fuel industry. And yesterday, 16 plaintiffs sued 5 different countries with the help of UNICEF because they are violating the rights of the child. And when we are tackling the climate crisis through so many different sectors, through civil society sector, through legislative sector, through education, through our personal choices as consumers, we are going to stress the system so much that they have to give us solutions and give us action. And to see how young people are being empowered, it's very inspiring. And the message is, you have a voice. Everybody has a voice, and anything you care about is going to be impacted by the climate crisis, and anything that you're passionate about, you can use to address it. Whether you're an artist, a writer, a photographer, whether you do sports in the snow and everything is changing, you can do something, you can raise awareness, and you have such a power to do it. You have moral authority. Our futures are going to be the most affected, and that is what we can say. Listen to us. This is about harming our futures and harming everything that we are going to grow towards.
Right, and when we are of course, in New York, and the United Nations General Assembly is on, how can organizations like the UN, the W.H.O, and others ensure that agreements are binding in some sense of the word, and that member countries participate and cooperate in maintaining a global rules-based order? What role can UN play?
Well, I think that the UN provides the forum for that to happen. We have
ends up turning into a talking shop.
Well, that's when it's not working, basically. If it is just countries coming up to make general statements about, this is very important, aren't the climate strikers wonderful, then at that point it's a talking shop, and that is not good enough. I have to say that where the UN has succeeded is where there has been leadership from the countries, because the UN is just the place where the countries come together to agree stuff. So the fact that we got the Paris Agreement, which is potentially, if we do it right, still not only the best environmental agreement ever, it's also the greatest public health agreement of the 21st century, because that's the way we're going to protect people's lives and we're going to solve air pollution and so on, was when you had the possibility of reaching a treaty organised by the UN, but with country leaders that came forward and meant it, that actually signed up to this. So I would say that the UN can do its role in bringing everybody together to provide a talking shop, but what really matters is what the countries are prepared to do. And I have to say that our Secretary General, the UN Secretary General, has been very strong on this. His message for this climate summit was, don't come with a speech, come with a plan. Come and tell us what you're going to do to solve the climate crisis. And I would also say he's been quite brave, he's been quite outspoken on saying things like no new coal plants. Now that's a national decision, but he's saying, well, it's your decision, but if you build new coal plants, that's incompatible with the future of these people. You shouldn't do it. So from my point of view, that's leadership. We need more of it.
And do you see hope in the leadership there? Do you see action against countries, or at least calling out countries which still remain bullish on fossil fuel? The United Nations can actually do something to ensure that everyone is on the same platform and keeps up their part of the bargain.
So, you know, the UN, it's very controversial that you can reach agreements, but it's non-binding and it cannot hold any countries accountable. But I do agree that it is a global stage. And when you bring heads of state together and their countries and their citizens are looking at what the leaders are saying, then we are going to hold our governments accountable, because we have such power as citizens to say, government is for us, and you have to protect our rights and you have to protect our livelihoods. So the UN is definitely a way to do that. But we have to realize that big things like the Paris Agreement are so big for some people and they don't feel like they can have a say on it. And that is why local policy is so important, and state policy, federal policy, and obviously follow international agreements.
Right. I'm going to thank you both. We're out of time on this chat, but more power to you and all the work that you're doing. Thank you very much for being with us here.
Thank you.